Involving the state of Michigan as a party. They handle bankruptcy cases. I don't even know how to spell it. They handle maritime cases. That would be anything on the high seas or the waterways, Mississippi River, Detroit River. I have a girlfriend that's a maritime judge. There's only 9 in the country. Oh. She's 1 of 9. She's out of St. Louis. It's really interesting. They handle like the Hazelwood case from the Exxon Valdez, those kind of cases. So that's the U.S. District Court. And from there, it goes, and tax. And from there, if you're appealing from there, you go to the Court of Appeals. You can tell why I couldn't be a teacher. The students wouldn't ever read anything. The Court of Appeals in this area of the country is the 6th Circuit, and it's in Cincinnati. Sorry, we'll just draw it in. You can have a couple of questions. Ready.
Daniel Petrella for the people, ready to proceed, Your Honor.
All right. Is the defense ready?
Brian A. Oakley, appearing for the defense, ready to proceed.
All right. We're going to dispense with a lot of the beginning stuff so we can move this along with the council's concurrence. Nobody wants to hear me talk?
No.
All right. Each side of it in a trial is entitled to jurors who approach the case with open minds and agree to keep your minds open until a final verdict is reached. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw the 7 names, and we're going to have you take a seat up there. And then we're going to let the lawyers ask you questions called voir dire. They're going to ask you all kinds of questions, I'm sure. You're limited to 2. Make them good. And then we're going to see if we can get a jury from all these wonderful people who have been selected to be here today. And the court officer is going to... Are you the officer or the court officer?
I'm both.
Oh.
I'm going to do both.
Why don't we have one of these?
I can swear myself in.
I want to see that.
You can be court officer?
She can be court officer.
Oh, okay. You can be court officer.
Put in your bed.
Oh, this is what you're explaining?
But don't go away. Wait, you could help them up there. You know.
Oh, okay.
Earl Bell.
See, Earl, we got you anyway. Earl, pin that right on there. You can climb up here. Take that first seat next to the camera.
Watch your step going up there. It's a little grave right there. All right.
Next one is David Young.
Ah.
Got the badge for you.
Pin that on there for you. Sit there next to Earl.
And third juror is Bobby Anderson.
Ah.
Doris Carpenter.
I was on last year. Did I send my husband?
I'll have to ask the judge on that
Would you
one.
like to be excused? Yes. All right.
I'll just call a different one, or you want
Huh? You want to sit up there? Willa?
What?
You want to? Do you want to be a juror in place of Doris? She's been asking you to do her work all these years. I should stop now, right? No, you're on.
Dolores K. Ganich.
I was on last year.
All right.
John K. Ganich.
He should be back in here any minute.
Okay. Okay. Leave that seat empty now.
Okay.
Margaret Prescorn. And Betty Young.
Did it? You know, if you think that's unusual, we did have one jury trial in which husband and wife both sat. This is not the first time that this is one. And we need Mr. K. Ganich out of the bathroom, is that All right. Yeah, Mrs. K. Ganich, is he a good sport?
Yes.
No, I don't think we want to be
Yes, he is.
This is going to be on cable
I can
television.
attest to that, he is.
Okay.
The name is Kaganich.
K. Ganich.
Goes right on that performance evaluation.
No.
He may have gone for a walk. Well, let's drop it. Let's drop it. Then we can go.
Patricia Bell.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, I know, all those husband and wives on
Okay, now we're going to have the lawyers get to ask you questions now. Mr. Petrella, do you have any questions?
there. I do, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, the defendant in this case is charged with a relatively new statute that was passed in Michigan not too long ago, and it's called the Domestic Violence Statute. Under this law, the state is seeing fit to punish behavior where people that live together in a domestic situation assault each other. Now, my question to you, and I notice we have would appear to be some seniors on the jury. A lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, but there are some people that don't believe that the state should get involved in these family matters. Is there anyone who has a problem with the state looking at what happens in the family in the event that state shouldn't be involved when someone assaults each other in a family situation, if they're husband and wife or son, sister against brother? Does anyone have a problem with that? Think the state has no business being involved in these family matters? Okay, you can all promise me that you will render a verdict based on the laws, that the way the judge will present it to you. Can you all promise me that you'll do that? Got one other question. Have any of you ever, any of the ladies or men in? Two, right? That was my first one.
That was your first one?
That was my first one.
Wow, okay.
Can I, real quick, or should I sit down? Have any of you, is there anyone who's ever been assaulted by their husband or wife here on the jury, indicating a negative response? That's all. Judge asked the jury for cause.
Actually, I think Mr. Bell was going to say yes.
Were you going to raise your hand?
Yeah, verbally assault.
Verbally,
You aren't
okay.
counting that one.
All right, we're not counting that. That's legal.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think he's asked 3 questions, so I'll only ask one, so we'll even it out at 2 apiece. Does Does anybody have any reason to believe that they can't give my client a fair trial today? Property taxes aside. No yes answers.
Okay.
That's the cause.
All right. Does anybody have any challenges and they want any of these people removed from the jury, Mr. Petrelli?
They look extremely fair to me, Judge. I'm satisfied with the jury.
Mr. Oakley?
As well.
All right. Don't stand up, just raise your right hand. You guys gonna do a good job? Fair? All right. Okay. Moving right along here. We expect this trial to be concluded by 3 o'clock. If we have to go later, we'll let you call your family and your friends and let you know and taking you hostage. But we will not be putting you up at the Radisson. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it, right? We're done. Keep an open mind, be fair, and justice will be served.
May I proceed with my opening statement,
You can
Judge?
proceed with your opening statement.
Ladies and gentlemen, this portion of the trial is what's called opening statement. It's a chance for the attorneys to have an opportunity to tell you what we intend to prove in this case. Now, I suspect that the witnesses in this case will tell you as follows, that on February 4th, 1995, at around 7:48 p.m., the police department was dispatched with 2 911 calls, hang-up calls. And as a result of their investigations, they went to a particular address in the city of Wayne, and they found a victim here, Miss Donna May, and they spoke with her, and she indicated that the defendant, the gentleman to my left here, came over to her house. They had one time lived together. They have a child together. He was upset with the fact that
Boy, is Mary and Mary.
he was upset that she was selling some rings that he had given her in the past. And an argument ensued, and the testimony will reveal that he threw her up against the wall in a very violent manner. She, fearing for her safety, threw a plate at him. His testimony might reveal that he cut himself a little bit in the eye. And as a result of this, she became frightened, attempted to call the police, dialed 911. He prevented her from calling, grabbed the phone out of her hand and hung it up. And she finally went next door to the neighbors and was able to call the police, and that's how the police finally arrived. That's going to be the basis of the case, so I want you to pay particularly close attention to the assault, the testimony as you will hear it. And at the end of the trial, I'll ask you to find the defendant guilty of domestic violence. Thank you.
Mr. Oakley?
Thank you,
Do you have an opening statement?
I do. I'll keep it to a minute and a half because Mr. Petrol went over 30 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, what you will hear today is that the victim, the alleged victim, Miss Donna May, is a vindictive, troubled woman. You'll hear that the plate that was thrown at my client was thrown at him before any alleged pushing took place, and in fact, what happened is when he jumped up to remove himself out of the room so that he did not suffer further harm by this troubled woman, she stumbled and fell against the wall. You'll also hear that he went to see his daughter, his 2-year-old daughter, like a good father. And when he went in to visit his daughter, this woman followed him from room to room, attempting to engage him in a heated argument. All he wanted to do was present his daughter with some candy. There was no assault by this gentleman on this lady. It was the other way around. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
People call.
I certainly wish they could be that brief. Mr. Petrol.
People call Donna May.
You want to swear in? I'll swear. You want to raise your right hand and swear that the testimony about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Tell us your name, please.
Donna May.
And on or about February 4th, 1995, were you living in apartment 1 in the city of Wayne?
Yes, I was.
And were you there around 7:48 p.m. or thereabouts?
Yes.
Did something unusual happen on that evening of that day at your apartment 1?
Yes.
Tell the court and the jury what happened.
At that point in time, the doorbell rang. I went to the door. I opened it. And the defendant, Al Day, was standing outside.
Okay, and the person you refer to as the defendant, you see him here today in court,
Yes, they were there.
indicating for the record, Your Honor, that the witness identified the defendant in this matter. And how did you know the defendant? Have you had any prior relationship with him?
Yes, we've had a prior relationship resulting in a 3-year-old daughter.
All right, and you weren't living together at the time, is that correct?
No.
Okay, so what happened when he came to the door?
He indicated that he wished to see the child.
All right, and then what happened?
He came in.
Did you invite him in?
Yes, I did.
All right, and what happened when he came inside?
He then proceeded to the bedroom area where the child was, saying that he wished to give her some candy. The child was preparing to go to sleep at that time. It was rather late.
All right, and what was your reaction when he said he was going to give her some candy?
I was quite disturbed because
Why was that?
the child is diabetic.
Okay, she's not supposed to eat candy, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, what happened then?
He proceeded to wake her up and give her candy.
Okay, she was sleeping then too, is that right? It was almost 8 o'clock, right?
Yes.
Okay, what happened next?
I informed him that he should not be doing that he knew that the child was diabetic, and he also should not be waking the child up at that hour. He could have come at an earlier period during the day.
Okay, were you expecting him that evening at all?
No, I was not.
Okay, and you have legal custody of your daughter, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
All right. And then what happened?
And then at that point, we got into an argument, and that argument then deteriorated further into a situation where he pushed me, knocked me against the wall.
Okay, when you say he pushed you, would you say knocked you against the wall? Okay, what did he do? Tell the jury what he did. It's the basis of this charge here. So what did he do to you?
He came up to me and he pushed me, then knocking me against the wall.
All right, and were you injured as a result, or?
No bruises that showed, but I was sore.
Okay, and then after he did that, what did you do?
Then I picked up a plate and I threw it at him.
Okay, and why did you do that?
I was very afraid that this would escalate further.
Okay, and then what did you try to do after that?
Well, we had some more communication, rather heated, and I went and I attempted to call 911. He knocked the phone out of my hand.
And what happened next?
Then I ran out the door and went to the next door apartment of Audrey Hay and knocked on the door there, and she admitted me, and I called 911 from there.
All right. And you were present when the police came, is that correct?
Yes.
And the police came and you told them everything essentially that you testified to today in court under oath, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and the defendant was arrested, is that correct? Taken away?
Correct.
That's all. Off you go.
Mr. Oakley?
Ms. May, you said that your argument became physical at some point, and Mr. Day pushed you.
Became physical on his side.
Where did this take place?
In the living room area. And they stepped outside the living room.
Okay. At the time when he pushed you, you were both in the living room?
Yes.
Okay. Was there a plate in the living room?
Yes. I
What?
had a china cabinet.
So you opened the china cabinet and removed the plate?
The china cabinet has some open areas, and this plate was on display
And you stated that you threw this plate at him to defend yourself.
after he knocked me against the wall. Yes.
Did you intend to injure him with the plate to the extent that he could not further the assault?
I just wanted him to get away from me and from the child.
You said that after you threw the plate that you left the apartment, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And what was the purpose for leaving the apartment?
Well, I had attempted to call 911 and he had knocked the phone out of my hand, and that was when I left the apartment to call 911 from Audrey Hayes' apartment.
And you did that, correct? And then you went back to your apartment, correct?
Yes.
Did you ask Miss Hay to go with you?
No, I did not.
Did you wait for the police before you went back?
No, I didn't. I was afraid for the child. I wanted to be sure the child was okay.
Before you left, did Mr. Day done anything to threaten Baby May?
Baby May?
Baby May.
That's wit.
Other than attempting to give the child some candy when the child was diabetic,
Were you afraid of Mr. Day when you left the apartment?
yes,
But yet you went back to the apartment without any assistance? Nothing further this time.
That's all.
You can step down, ma'am.
Audrey Hay?
Swear the testimony you're about to give the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Does she?
Now, Miss Hay, I'm going to direct your attention to the evening hours around 8 p.m. on February 4th, 1995. Now, you live next door to Miss May. Is that correct, Donna May?
That's true.
Did something unusual happen around that time on that date?
Well, there was a lot of noise and yelling, and someone came pounding at the door.
Okay, who came pounding at the door?
It was Donna May.
All right, and what did she say to you when she came pounding at the door?
She wanted to use my phone.
Okay, what was her state of mind? Did she appear upset?
She was very upset.
Okay, and she tell you what happened?
No, she just ran for the phone.
Okay, and did you hear what she said on the phone?
Yes, she called the police and said there was a fight. She was frightened.
All right, and what did she do next?
Then she left and rushed back to her apartment.
That's all.
Not quite. Miss Hay, did Miss May ask you to accompany her back to her room, her
No,
apartment?
she didn't. She just quickly got back as fast as she just run down quickly and left them immediately.
How long did she spend in your apartment, do you know?
3 or 4 minutes, just long enough to make the phone call.
When she came to your door, did she appear, you said she appeared to be upset?
Very upset.
Would you say that she appeared to be agitated or angry?
No, more upset and frightened than angry.
Did she ask you for assistance in any manner? Other
Just to
than
use your phone.
just the use of the phone? Nothing further.
That's all?
Thank you, Miss Hay.
You're welcome.
You can go back down and sit with Miss May,
Mr. Whitworth?
mother of baby May. Officer Whitway. Swear testimony about to give the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Dude.
Tell us your name, sir.
William Whitworth?
And you're employed with the Wayne Police Department, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Were you working on the afternoon shift of February 4th, 1995, around 8 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Did you have occasion to go to apartment 1 in the city of Wayne for some reason?
Yes, sir.
What was the reason were you dispatched there?
The original call was a 911 hang-up, unknown what the problem was, and while I was en route, received another radio dispatch that they had received a second call from Apartment 2 reporting a family trouble in Apartment 1.
All right, and what happened when you arrived there, officer?
Upon arrival, I spoke with Miss May, and she advised me that her ex-boyfriend had come to the apartment and came in when she opened the door, uninvited, and that they argued, and he went to their child's bedroom. She followed him there. She saw him feeding the child candy, which she did not wish the child to have the candy.
Then what happened?
They argued some more, and She states that the defendant pushed her against the wall and that she was afraid he may do something else to her. She picked up a plate and threw it at him.
All right. And was the defendant there?
Yes, he was.
Okay, and you see him here today. Would you point him out, please?
Yes, it's the gentleman in the dark suit sitting next to Mr. Oakley.
Indicating the defendant. Now, did you attempt to talk to him?
Yes, I did speak with the defendant.
Now, it's my understanding on these domestic type of disputes, it's your job to go there and attempt to do some sort of a preliminary investigation. Is that correct?
Yes, determine whether or not there in fact was an assault.
Okay, and if you make at least a brief investigation and you make a determination if somebody's at fault, what do you normally do?
The defendant or suspect would be placed under arrest.
Okay, you spoke with with the defendant here in this.
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
And he wasn't under arrest at that time, is
Not
that
at the
correct?
time, no.
Okay, and what did you ask him and what did he say, if anything?
He told me that he'd come to see his child, and he also told me that he lived at that apartment, although his driver's license showed an address in the city of Westland.
Okay. All right, you did check his driver's license. It wasn't the same as the address.
It was not the address at our apartment.
Did you ask him whether or not he in fact assaulted the complaining witness, Donna May, in this case?
Yes, I did, but his answer was, what did she say I did?
All right. And then what happened?
And I asked him again if he had, and he said he didn't know that he had or not.
Okay. You didn't know whether or not he had assaulted her?
That's what he said.
All right. Based on your independent determination, did you arrest then the defendant?
Yes, he was placed under arrest and transported to the police department under the spouse abuse law.
All right. And what was the demeanor of the victim here, Miss May?
She was very upset. She was afraid of the defendant, and she was afraid that he may injure her again if he was not placed under arrest.
Okay. And the law says that you take him to jail for 20 hours, right?
Yes,
Did
sir.
you do the 20 hours if you know? Did you?
Yes, sir, he did.
And that's pursuant to statute. The statute requires that in domestic,
Yes, sir.
domestic abuse cases.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
All right. That's all cross-examined.
Officer Whitworth, you said that...
Whitway.
I'm sorry, Officer Whitway, you said that when you initially got to apartment number 1, you spoke to Donna May, correct?
That's correct.
And she told you that her boyfriend had showed up and came into the apartment uninvited?
Yes.
And she told you that she had followed him into the daughter's bedroom
Yes.
in pursuance of the argument. Is that correct?
Yes.
When you asked Mr. Day what happened, did you use the words, did you assault, or did you use, did you push?
I asked her if he pushed her.
Okay, and his answer was what?
What did she say?
Okay, and what was his answer the second time you asked him
He
that?
didn't know.
Did you notice any visible sign of injury on either the defendant or the victim?
I saw no visible injuries on the victim. The defendant did have a small cut on the bridge of his nose.
No further questions. Officer Whitway.
That's all, Your Honor. People rest.
Officer Whitway, thank you very much for the testimony regarding Donna May, Al May, Kearns, and Baby May. And the people rest.
People rest, Your Honor.
Defense would call the defendant Al Day to the stand, please.
Al Day. Former boyfriend of Donna May, father of Baby May. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
Actually, it's Baby May Day.
Baby May Day. Thank you, Ms. Hay.
Mr. Day, did you have reason to go to apartment number 1, the city of Wayne, approximately 7:48 on February 4th?
Yes, eventually I have two reasons. First one, I have a daughter, she have a diabetes a problem, and I took special trip to buy her some sugar-free candy. And that's one of the reasons. The second reason, I gave my ex-girlfriend a ring. I heard she's in the process of selling. So I went to give the candy to my daughter, the sugarless candy, and try to find out about the ring.
And when you got to the apartment, were you invited in?
Yes,
And who invited you in?
my ex-girlfriend, Donna Mae.
And were you able to retrieve the ring that you were after?
No.
Were you able to give your daughter the candy that you took?
Well, I went to the bedroom and she followed me over there. Then my daughter stand up and give me a hug. I was trying to give her the candy. And Donna got upset and angry, said, I told you you can't give her the candy, she can't sleep. I said, she doesn't have to eat it now. I have quite a few. I said, you give her some every day. But I like to give her the bag myself to see the smile on her face and give her a hug. And knowing Donna, she's very dictatorial and she wants everything her way.
What was Donna's attitude when you first got to the apartment? Was she friendly? Was she hostile?
First of all, she smiled, and then when I asked her about the ring, she got upset. And when I finished the conversation about the ring, then I told her I had some candy for my daughter. I'd like to give it to her, and I walked to the bedroom.
Now, when you walked into Baby May's bedroom, were you arguing with Donna?
She was really telling me, you can't give her the candy now, come back next time. I said, well, I'm going to give her the candy now and give her a hug and a kiss. And I really like to tell her a little story, bedtime story, but the way she was going, I tell you, it's the only thing you could listen, it's her.
What happened next?
So I give the candy to the girl and I was ignoring her and talk with my daughter. She got so upset she had a little dish on the table with fork in the dish. She threw the dish at me and hit me on the fork hit me on the nose. I put my hand here and I saw a little blood and she was standing up right next to me. I got up with, very upset and then I just walked out of the room. And then she followed me and she said she's going to call 911 and she picked up the phone, so I pushed the button on the phone. Said, you don't need, I'm leaving.
Okay.
I said, if we should call the police, we should call them to protect me from you. So,
what was your purpose for leaving the bedroom?
to check on because I have a problem with my eye before I have operation on it. And I was really worried about where the blood coming from. I went just to see the mirror to see where the blood coming from.
Did you push Donna Mae on the way out of the bedroom?
No, I don't remember pushing her or not pushing her. I just got up and walked. I don't know if she was in my way or not, but I was so concerned about the blood, and she claimed I pushed her. I really don't remember I did any intentional pushing.
At the point where you pushed the button to hang up the phone, did you come in contact with her in any way?
No.
Did you grab the phone out of her hand?
No, I pushed the button.
What happened after you pushed the button?
She threw the phone on the floor and she walked out of the apartment.
And what did you do?
I just know she's very upset and everything. I went back to the room, kissed my daughter. I told her, your mother, she's very upset. I better leave before we get into a big fight. And I left. And she, my daughter cried and said, I want to go live with you. I said, well, you know, our system always put the woman and everything.
Objection, Your Honor. I don't believe that's relevant at all. I asked that the court instruct the jury to disregard all those
disregard all of what all of
Did you at any point assault Donna Mae?
No.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Dave.
How it looks at the beginning, is it, Mr. Brazil?
Never is. Now, Mr. Dave, you were, you wanted those rings back, didn't you?
Well, I told her that you can't sell that ring.
Answer my question. You wanted those rings back, didn't you?
No, I don't want the ring. I said, if you're going to sell the ring, you better give it to me back.
Oh, you
have
did
no
want
right
it
to
back.
sell it, but if you want to keep it, it's yours.
Were these a gift then? These were a gift, or were they not?
It's a love gift. It's not something.
And you were
with
upset.
feeling, with sentimental value, you know.
And you were upset that she wasn't in love with you anymore. That's why you went over there. You were upset, were you not? Because you heard she was going to give these rings
Is
away.
that a crime to love somebody? I was upset because I was in love with her, and I have too many girlfriends. Some of them sit in the courtroom, and none of them know me as a violent man. They can testify to that too.
I see. Now, did you tell Mrs. Day, or Mrs. May, Miss May, that the candy was sugarless candy?
She know that, and she
How did she know
I
that?
always make a special trip, because only few places sell those candy. And one of them, that nice store in Wayne on the corner.
You always make it a habit to visit your daughter at 8 o'clock at night, a 2-year-old daughter. Are you in a habit of waking her up from her sleep at 8 o'clock at night to give her candy?
No, my daughter never goes to bed before 8:30 or 8:45, because her mother a lot of times pick her from the babysitter around 7:30 or 7 o'clock, depending on what time she finished running around.
Now let's go to the police. You heard the police. Now you mean to tell me you couldn't, when the police asked you whether or not you heard Officer Whitworth testify here just a few minutes ago. You mean to tell me that you couldn't remember whether or not you had pushed Miss May out of the way or not?
I really remember very well, intentionally, I did not push her.
You remember everything else so well.
But if she was in my way, you don't know her, you didn't live with her, sir.
We're not sure. Second man. We're not sure. Sorry.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
I agree with you.
Briefly, Your Honor. Mr. Day, where is the store in Wayne Road that you went to?
It's on Annapolis and Howe.
What's the name of this establishment?
Al's Friendly Market.
You know the phone number.
Yes.
No further questions.
Did you retain your lawyer from the firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe? I believe you did, that's all. No rebuttal, Judge. Thank you.
You can step down. Mr. Oakley, anything else?
No.
Okay.
Closing arguments, Your Honor?
The audience quit the plotting. Okay, closing argument.
Ladies and gentlemen, closing argument is a time when the lawyer summarizes what the evidence is shown to you. Now, I want you to use your reason and common sense. Look at the witnesses that the people presented. Donna May, who presented the allegations, the basis of the charge. They were corroborated by the next door neighbor. Everything the next door neighbors testified to was essentially reinforced and what we call corroborated the testimony of the victim. And also Officer Whitworth, what he testified to is exactly what this witness testified to. Now, let's compare to the three people's witnesses with the testimony of the defendant. Did the defendant, have you ever heard from any of the witnesses other than today on the stand that candy was sugarless? Never told Officer Whitworth. And if he would have, Officer Whitworth would have, I'm sure, put it in his report like most good police officers do. Is it reasonable to believe he couldn't remember whether or not he pushed this woman? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. He's obviously changing his testimony. Now, it's your job as jurors, and the judge will instruct you to resolve the facts in this case. And there's only one way for you to do that, and that's to find this defendant guilty. Testimony of the three people's witnesses was right on point, no inconsistencies. Look at all this manufactured testimony of the defense. Completely different from what he told Officer Whitworth. So I ask you not to believe him, believe the witness, the victim, and find the defendant guilty. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to disagree with Mr. Petrella. There was testimony that was not agreed to among the people's witnesses. First of all, this lady would have you believe her version of what happened. But listen to what she told Officer Whitway. She told Officer Whitway that Mr. Day came in uninvited, but she told you that she invited him in. She told Officer Whitway that she followed him into the daughter's bedroom to argue, but she told you that the pushing and the shoving happened in the living room. What did you see from Mr. Day? You saw a loving father who went out of his way to go to Al's Friendly Market to get so that he could take it to his daughter and tell her a bedtime story. That's what you saw from Mr. Day. He was asked by Officer Whitway, did you push her? And he said, I don't know. I asked him today, did you push her? And he said, I don't know. Why doesn't he know? Because he was struck on his blind side. He put his hand to his face. He saw blood. He jumped up. He went out to see what the damage was. He doesn't know if he brushed by this woman. He doesn't know what happened. And if he doesn't know what happened, could he have intentionally assaulted her? I say no. The judge will tell you that one of the things that this gentleman has to prove is that the claim, this assault that was claimed, had to be intentional. You saw the witness. Maybe he pushed her. Maybe he brushed by her. But he didn't do anything intentional, except take sugarless candy to his daughter.
Ladies and gentlemen, to rebut that, I would say this was an intentional pushing. Look at why he went over there. He originally went over there. Why? Because he was upset with the fact that she was thwarting his advances by getting rid of the rings that he had given her. So I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, that is his motive for assaulting her. He was he went after her in a fit of jealous rage because he was so upset with the fact that she had sold those rings or was in the process of selling these rings that he wanted back, the Indian giver. And that was his motive for being upset with her. So with that, I ask you to find the defendant guilty.
Boy. Marcia Clark should take some lessons from you. Eddie Cochran should take some lessons from you. All right. I'm going to cut right through this. It's your job to decide what the facts are. A person accused of a crime is presumed to be innocent. He has the presumption of innocence until you find him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You can't, if there's any doubt, reasonable doubt, then you have to find him not guilty. It's your job to decide which witnesses you believe. The crime of assault and battery does require proof of specific intent. This means that the prosecution must prove not only that the defendant did commit the crime of assault and battery, but he did it with the intent to cause a particular result. You can return a verdict of guilty or not guilty, and possible penalty shouldn't influence your decision. It's my job to fix the penalty. Let me see. First, when you go into the jury room, which I guess you're going to use my office, you're going to select a person to be the foreperson who will speak for the group. And then you carry on your discussion in a business-like way. Everybody should have a chance to be heard. We're going to give you about 7 minutes to make it. Talk to each other. Make sure that everybody tries to reach an agreement. And the decision must be unanimous. And I think, let me see, I'm going to tell you what assault and battery it is. Assault and battery is a forceful or violent touching of the person or something closely connected with the person intended by the defendant that is not accidental and against Miss May's will. It does not matter whether or not an injury was caused. Mr. Petrelli, you have anything else you think these people need to know?
Satisfied with the jury
How about
charge.
you, Mr. O'Hare? You can go with your Killenback and the instructions.
Bridge version?
Yeah.
You were a wonderful. I'm just trying to get you over. I mean, how would I know? It's like real.
And who was selected as the foreperson?
Other four.
Okay, Mr. Young, did the jury reach a decision?
Yes, we reached a decision,
What was that?
not unanimous. It's a hung jury.
It was a hung jury. You know what we're going to have to do?
May we poll the jury if they're in?
I bet I can guess.
We'll poll the jury and we'll find out what each one of them was, how they were voting.
You'd be surprised.
What happens now is Mr. Petrella is going to have to go back and ask his boss, Mr. O'Hare, whether or not we should retry the case. And so if Mr. O'Hare says we have to retry the case, we may be back here again next year. And we'll keep doing this until we get it right. Okay, I'm going to go down and ask all of you how you voted.
Do they do this in a real court?
Yeah, yeah, they do. Mr. Bell, were you a guilty or not guilty?
You want my decision on the, is this what we're talking?
Yeah.
Not guilty, Your Honor.
Not guilty. Mr. Young, guilty.
I'm going to hire you for a witness if I need him.
Me too.
Yeah, okay, you too.
Miss Anderson,
Guilty.
Miss Carpenter.
No, Mr.
Mr. Carpenter, why does it say Doris? Oh, I know.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Miss Bell,
Guilty.
Miss Priesthorn,
Guilty.
Miss Young.
Guilty.
Oh, you can see why.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the
And
jury.
thank you to the 29th District Court players.
Thank you.
Did you get beat up last year?
And what's happening in the courtroom and at the police station, it's not the same thing what's happening in the apartment when we have the door closed.
Officer Whitway took a little artistic license, but it's pretty much right off the original police
He made most of that.
And he was
Al made most of that up. Most of the things just answered just by the question. Just let it flow. The truth come out anyway.
I don't know about the judge's comment, so I thought that was rather prejudicial.
Actually, it was.
Well,
I wasn't another prosecutor.
I really appreciate that. The judge see here a nice chance, a guy get rid of his ex-girlfriend and she's looking for one. She figure out maybe she could be a little bit biased.
On the real case. It was a different prosecutor.
see, but you love me so much, you just couldn't do without me. Now all of his other girlfriends know.
It was a little bit different story than the real case, because she admitted that she threw the plate first. And she threw it hard enough to actually draw, that was real. She actually drew blood with the fork. And I think that was the jury, wasn't it?
Yeah, we didn't go into that. The plate actually was plated food that she had taken to the daughter. The daughter wouldn't eat it. And then he came in with the candy and wanted to give her candy. She said, no, I want to eat food. That's it. And then she threw that food plate.
And she admitted in real life, she admitted that she had thrown the plate. Well, she said she tossed it.
Tossed it, poor kid.
But she admitted that happened before the pushing.
Well, was he really coming in for rings that he heard she was selling?
Yeah, that's, in the real life, that's what it was.
And they still found the deal.
Correct.
No.
No.
I didn't think that was in the script. That was brand new, thrown in by
What part?
the diabetes.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, yeah, you threw the diabetes in. Donna threw the diabetes in.
Cookies and water. Cookies and water.
They came